Hey, everybody. It's the 6'4" podcast. I'm Yap. There's Johnson in the upper left, Breeze in the lower left, and Sags in the lower right. Sags has a new phone. That's what I've heard. All right, we're drafting again, and we're drafting unusual things now, apparently. Johnson, do you care to explain what this is all about?
Yeah, I don't know. This is I had a different topic in mind, but you had the same topic, and you're coming up, and so I decided to let you keep that one. And I've just thought of one kind of off the fly. Our favorite fictional towns. And there's a couple caveats with this. Obviously, animated towns are on the board. Cities that actually exist, like New York City, are on the board because I'm just using this for an example. Like you're hanging out with the crew from Friends. It's probably a little different than what New York is actually like.
That's what it's like.
But so places like that are on the board as well, and we're also kind of doing away with just the 80s only one for this draft as well, just to open it up a little bit more. I thought this was kind of a fun one to do a little research on, and my wife just gave me one that I hadn't even thought of that if it doesn't come up, I'll throw in as an honorable mention. That's just going to blow everybody's minds because we'll be typically four idiots who didn't even think of this one.
That's us. That was the alternate name for the podcast.
Yeah,
true.
I thought we were doing our NBA draft review show today.
That's in bonus footage.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
That's on the bootleg cut.
That's the B-side.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. My battery's running low again. What's going on here?
You should get a new phone.
Oh, it's unplugged. No wonder.
This will be a nice little segue into the draft order, but I think we should all wish the man with the number one pick a very happy birthday.
Yes.
Mr. Breeze.
Happy birthday, Breeze.
Yes. So,
Yeah.
What are you, 52?
Look how I'm spending it.
us. Yeah. Well, man, if we were all in Huntington together, we'd chip in and get you a budget burger or something.
Go to Dwight's.
Yeah.
I would have got you 2 papers out of the machine.
Yeah. So.
Were those budget burgers those little tiny things you got in a vending machine downstairs? Oh man,
Yeah.
those were tasty.
And we might even have found an extra ticket if it happened to be ticket night for Breeze.
Toppings.
So our birthday boy has the first pick, followed by Yap, then Sags, then me.
All right. Well, I guess I'll get things started. With my first pick, this town was a town that I was aware of, and it was a town that I had visited once or twice, but it didn't really do anything for me at first, and I wasn't too impressed with what was going on in the town, so I decided to, visit some other places and explore some other areas of the country. But one day I decided, you know what, I'm going to go back to this town and give it one more shot. And I'm glad I did, because when I went back to visit this town the next time, something about it just really caught my attention. And so it became a town that I looked forward to going to again and again. And it's a town that I've been visiting quite frequently the past several months. And I'm glad that I gave it one more shot.
The buildup is unbelievable here.
Huh?
I said the buildup is unbelievable here.
So you guys know that I'm interested in politics. And that's one of the cool things about this town is that the people who live in this town seem genuinely happy and genuinely excited about trying to make their town better. And so that's appealing to me. And if I lived in that town, I would like to think that I would get involved with some of these people and help them try to make this town a bigger and better town. So with my first pick, I'm going with Pawnee, Indiana.
Nice.
From the show Parks and Recreation.
It's a good pick. That was on my board. Plus, Pawnee, I'm all for too, because man, they really put an emphasis on breakfast foods in Pawnee. So I'm all about that. So
yeah, and if I live in Pawnee, I might have a chance to meet Rashida Jones, and I would be very interested in doing that.
Absolutely.
Getting arguments.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I love it. I love that pick, man. Great town and great TV show.
So that show, I tried to watch it like 3 times. And people keep telling me skip the first season. Because I can't. Is that fair?
Yeah. That's fair.
Yeah.
You guys told me the same thing about The Office.
There's a couple casting changes that happened after season 1 that really kind of took that show to another level. When you agree, Breeze?
Yeah.
The Office is that way, but it's just kind of cringy. And the first season's only 6 episodes. And if you go back, like, once you know what you're getting into, it's fine. But like when you first started, like Steve Carell is like super cringy, and I see why people turned it off. But in season 2, he becomes not as cringy. So that's where some people have picked it up. But if you can stick with it, there's some funny stuff in the first season.
All right. How far outside of the realm of the 80s are we going here? I mean, are we going just
wherever,
any fictional town? Okay.
No limits this week.
Because there are several on my board that I really wanted to pick number 1. And I think my overall number 1 is still going to be there when it comes back around to me. So I'm going to go with one that is very, very obvious and should be on everybody's board, I would think. And it's just a small little town in North Carolina where they had one sheriff with a bullet in his pocket, where you could go on the porch and hear the sheriff playing guitar and singing, and Aunt B would be cooking up something to eat. And I got to go with Mayberry, North Carolina as my number 1 pick. I mean, that's small town. It's any town USA, which I guess we probably also could have put in there from Seinfeld with Kramer on the front porch. But I'm going with Mayberry, North Carolina as my number 1 pick.
We literally watch Andy Griffith every single day. It's on TV Land from like 4 to 7:30 or something.
Yeah.
And Palmer's usually in the front room, so just to avoid anything bad that might come on the television, we just put that on and we're good.
Never gets old, does it?
No.
Nope.
And so many great characters that have come into that show and come from that show. Just ancillary characters that aren't on there every week. I think of Ernest T. Bass is one of my favorites. But I mean, that show just had so many great people. There was always a lesson to be learned too. So that kind of teaches you.
Yep. Good pick.
Yeah.
I'm like, Yap. I feel that my next pick, since I only got to wait for Johnson to have 2. I think a couple of my others will be there. So I can go pretty strong with this one. I picked this because it reminded me a lot of what it was like growing up for me. So it's not like so much fictional to me as it was like reminiscing, I guess. But and I don't know, they never said the actual town, but it was said to take someplace in California was kind of what people determined. But it was, you'd hang out with Winnie Cooper and Kevin Arnold and the Wonder Years. Just that time there's a lot going on, obviously, with Vietnam and all this other stuff, but they just had that circle of friends and that kind of, subdivision. I know that wasn't technically a subdivision, but like in that street, and, they would play baseball, football in the street, and they go over to each other's houses. And it was just this kind of neighborhood thing, similar to Mayberry, I guess, just in the 60s. So, but if I could grow up with Winnie Cooper and Kevin Arnold, that'd be pretty cool. So I'm going to choose, again, it's not really, they didn't say a place, but the Wonder Years neighborhood.
Good.
It's a good one.
For my first pick, this is a town that came up a few episodes ago quite frequently, I believe, in our movies list. And I know Sags picked 2 movies where this town was set in. And, much like we talked about with the movies, it just reminds you of your childhood. And I'm not sure anyone has done teenage movies better than John Hughes. I also don't know if anyone has done suburbs better than John Hughes and life in the suburbs. And we're talking about Shermer, Illinois.
My list.
You look at the movie Pretty in Pink, Ferris Bueller's Day Off, Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, all set in Shermer, Illinois. Now, I don't know for sure. I didn't do this much deep research, but you look at a movie like Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, I like to think, because I know they're trying to get back to the Chicago area, I like to think that Dell and Neil, when they're carrying that case down the road at the end of the movie, they're looking for a suburb home in Shermer, Illinois. It just feels like, that's the area that they're headed to. And maybe even the same thing could be said about the Griswolds home. Not quite as innocent as Mayberry, but Shermer, Illinois, I think would have been a great place to live.
Yeah, I had that on my list.
So that's my number one.
Good one.
I think walking that big case from just the Chicago train station to Shermer, Illinois might be a haul, but at least there's the option there.
Yeah, but I think Shermer is supposed to be a suburb of Chicago.
Still, you're walking with a case. I mean, that's
it's the movies, man. You got to suspend your belief a little bit.
I know. I love that movie. That's one of my favorite movies.
Anybody besides me already got it queued up to watch next week? You got to watch it on your Thanksgiving.
I got it. Thanksgiving. Yep.
For my number 2 town, now obviously with a lot of these cities, we're not necessarily watching these shows or movies and thinking, oh, that would be a nice place to live. I bet the property tax rate is just really fits into my budget. It's a lot about the people in these towns, right? So I'm going to go with our first animated, and maybe not our last one. I started thinking about some of the different animated towns, and there's some good ones out there. But there's a little town called Highland, which I believe is in Texas. Not 100% sure. It was never made clear. But, man, it's like you've always got access to nachos. You got, like, cool guys to look up to, like Todd. You got these 2 little, just go-getters that sit around and watch TV all the time. It seemed like they'd be fun to hang out with. There's Mr. Anderson down the street if you want to pick up a little money on the side. He's always got some odd jobs for you to try to do. So yeah, man, just put me right in the middle of that Beavis and Butthead world. Let me eat some nachos. Let me watch some videos. Let me dream about driving, Todd's Trans Am or Camaro or whatever it was.
And don't forget, if they got out of line, they had the role model of Mr. Buzzcut to keep them in line.
There you go.
And Mr. McVicker.
Solid pick. Surprised
That's
Philly
good.
I didn't pick that.
No.
So I'm going to quote something here, so I'll be looking off to the side because I think when I say this, Phil, y'all will know where I'm going. So I'll just say it here. It's it gladdens me to know that Odin prepares a feast. Soon I shall be drinking ale from curved horns. I shall enter Odin's hall with fear. I shall not enter Odin's hall with fear. There I shall wait for my sons to join me, and when they do, I will bask in their triumph. My death comes without apology, and I welcome the Valkyries to summon me home. And he's going to Valhalla. So that's kind of a fictional heaven, I guess, if you want to say what the Vikings
Skull.
did. There you go. To me, we won't get into it here. That might be for another podcast. Heaven is real and a thing. So I had to go with a fictional heaven, if you will, is what the Vikings thought of Valhalla. So I will choose Valhalla as my second pick. And if you haven't seen Vikings, watch that show. Totally legit.
What was the name? It's been a while since I've seen it now. What was the name of the town they were in?
Kattegat.
Kattegat. Yes, Kattegat.
How can you forget that?
I don't know.
I just million times
I know.
on the show.
I just drew a blank, and I haven't seen it in a while.
How'd that go again?
Kattegat. That's exactly how they say it in the show every single time.
Kattegat. Yeah.
It's like when you're speaking, when you see like newscasters talking and they have to say a Spanish name. They talk like they're from Texas or whatever, and then they say the perfect Spanish pronunciation. That's how they did Kattegat in Vikings.
And so the sheriff of Guadalajara, I know, that's what it is. Good pick. For my second pick, I'm going to dive into the animated realm as well. This is what I had first on the board for me, but I thought, look, if Mayberry's there, you got to take that regardless. It's a 5-tool player. So I have to go with the animated route this time. And this kind of piggybacks off of Highland in that one of the characters from that show, Mr. Anderson, got his own town.
It's actually on my list.
Of Arlen, Texas.
Yeah.
And Arlen, Texas is a wonderful town with, it just seems like 4 guys who just like to hang out and have fun. Look here. They like to stand out in the alley, solve the problems of the world. And the great thing about Arlen, Texas, there are 2 really good things about Arlen, Texas. Number 1, they have the best lawns of any animated show around. They take pride in their lawns. That's a thing.
Yep.
And the second thing is they have plenty of propane and propane accessories. I tell you what, Hank Hill, that boy ain't right. So, you got to go with Hank and Dale and Boomhauer and Dale Gribble. Dale Gribble, Bill Dotrieve, Boomhauer, and Hank Hill. And then John Redcorn. So
we know where John Redcorn is.
Yes, we do. But that's one of my favorite fictional towns, has to be, and it's Arlen, Texas.
I thought about going back to back with Highland and Arlen, but when Shermer was there, because I thought Sags might go to Shermer route, real quick, my 2 favorite Hank Hill lines of all time. Oh man, there's the old high school. Man, I haven't been there since Thursday. And then it's 8:00 in the morning and the boy already ain't right. So man.
One of
the 4 of us, you can put the 4 of us in that alley. Maybe not with beer, maybe with some Diet Mountain Dew. For me and Sags.
Absolutely.
We could definitely pull that off.
Mike Judge had one of the best comics over COVID. He did another comic of them standing in the alley, but they're all like 6 feet apart. It was just, there's no words or anything. It was just super subtle, but I thought that was pretty classic.
Every character on that show was unique in their own way, and there's always a line from them that stands out. For me, I mean, Dale Gribble, the conspiracy theorist, the anti-government guy, and I remember he called Hank Hill's house, and Peggy answered the phone, and he says, "You don't know who I am, but I know where you live." I mean, oh gosh, I love that show. And you know what?
Yeah.
My wife had never heard of snipe hunting before, so
Wow.
somebody at work mentioned it to her, and I was like, "What? You don't know what that is?" She goes, "No." So I had to pull out Hank Hill and King of the Hill season 1 with the snipe hunt when they went to the camp, and they were calling on the spirit Weematanya, just woo Lulu. That's one of the funniest episodes ever of that show. Oh man! All right, sorry.
Is that on anywhere like Netflix or anything?
Hulu has it.
Hulu?
I don't know if it's on Netflix, but I know Hulu has it because that's where I got that episode.
Gotcha.
Yeah, man.
I think my favorite, not to turn this into a King of the Hill, but when he rented an X-rated, or it said that he rented an X-rated videotape, and that he didn't return it, and so he's at the video store, and I won't do the voice because I don't do it well, but he said, "Who's calling me a liar? You or the machine? Because I want to know whose butt to kick."
I'll tell you
what. If you do it in his voice, it's very funny, but it's good.
All right, man, when we get to the end of the show, when we talk about some of the other cities on our honorable mention list, there's a lot of cities that we're going to not pick tonight that are going to be iconic cities. So this will be fun getting to that. But with my next couple picks, I'm going to stick with what is familiar for me. And as I've said on previous shows, my favorite place to be is California, and specifically the LA area. And probably one of the most beautiful spots in the entire country is a town called Malibu. And in Malibu, California, almost all the houses are overlooking the ocean. They're tens of millions of dollars. Fantastic weather year round. Rich people everywhere you look. Beautiful women everywhere you look. So for me, that would be a great place to want to hang out. And who better to hang out in Malibu, California with than somebody who is an expert at getting beautiful women back to his house than Charlie Harper. So I'm going with Malibu, California, and hanging out with Charlie Harper from 2.5 Men.
I hate that
and also
show.
because I know you don't like that show, but I want to be in a city like Malibu with a guy like that who's going to allow somebody to just move into his house and stay there forever with him. And then when he dies, the person who buys his house next is still going to allow me to live there as well. So that's kind of the situation I want to find myself in.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Melrose Place.
No. Too much cattiness going on there. There's backstabbing and all kinds of stuff. Got to watch your back. So with my third pick, as I said, with Pawnee, I'm interested in politics. And the thing that's great about Pawnee is that the people in Pawnee are idealists. And I think of myself as an idealist. I want to think about how things should be. And I don't want to talk about and get bogged down with how things are. I want to try to be a positive force for change. And if you're going to live in Washington, D.C., and you're going to be an idealist, you want to be in Washington, D.C., hanging out with people from the Bartlett administration. So I want to be in Washington, D.C. during the years when President Jebediah Bartlett was president, and work with the crew from West Wing.
I really wanted to get into that show because I've heard it's really awesome.
Yeah, same.
Never watched it.
Well, I haven't either.
I really
I've
never
heard
had an
it's
interest in it.
I've heard it's great.
Me too. I hear it's as good as Vikings.
Yeah, it's
No,
not. Wait, is Ragnar in West Wing?
I think he is.
I worded that wrong.
He was the Secretary of
I've
Defense.
heard equally great things about those shows. There we go.
Okay. All right. I think for my last pick, and there are so many still out there, like Bree said. I mean, there's so many that we're going to leave off the board. But I think for me, I want to kind of combine. We have 10 minutes left. I want to kind of combine some of Breeze's thoughts and some of Sag's thoughts. I want to think along the lines of Sag's, where I'm kind of going back in time and thinking about when I grew up and the hangouts and stuff. I want to think the way Breeze thinks because it's in California. And, you know, if I'm thinking about school, I've got to go back to, you know, talk about a guy picking up chicks. I mean, you had a couple of guys that picked up a lot of chicks. And that was Zach Morris and AC Slater. And what did they do? They hung out at the Max. And then you had this little nerdy friend, which, I mean, you know, Breeze, somebody has to be that. But Screech, I mean, he wrote a school song that was insane. Oh, give me a school with a big swimming pool and a library filled full of books where seldom is heard a complaint from a nerd and the chess team has plenty of rooks. I'm talking about Bayside High School in Pacific Palisades, California. Sign me up.
Can't argue with
awesome. And you know the best reason to go to Bayside? Lisa Turtle.
The best looking out of all three of the female leads on that show.
Wait,
Billy, I couldn't believe it. He goes, well, so, you know, what do you think? And I was like, it's Lisa Turtle, man. Is there even any question here?
I still can't believe that Kelly dumped Zach for that Jeff guy at the Max. I'm still mad about that. And every time that Michael Bolton song comes on, How Am I Supposed to Live Without You? That's the first thing that comes to my mind. Tori Spelling was in that. Leah Remini was in that. And Mr. Beld, every show you could count on Mr. Belding saying at some point, hey, what is going on here? Every show.
Was it just me, or did everybody find that show by scrolling channels? Like, I just stumbled on it.
Yeah, probably.
You know, I was like, hey, what's this?
You probably weren't watching it from the very beginning when it was called Good Morning, Miss Bliss.
Going back, I saw it, but not from the beginning. Yeah.
And now there's a new Saved by the Bell, which is going to be on Peacock, and it looks, I don't know. The old characters are in it, except Screech. He's in jail, I think. But
rightfully so, probably.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah, good pick. So I'm going to go through this quick because I think we can go back and get some of our honorable mentions. So this last one is kind of, I guess in essence, it's a fake town, right? But man, it would have been cool to live there because everything was set up and just almost perfect. So they could watch this person. And I would like to live on the Truman Show.
Nice.
You know, in that bubble, nobody can get in or out. I was going to say Celebration in Disney World, but I don't think that's its own town anymore. I don't think it's a thing anymore. Yeah. So Truman Show would be my last pick.
That's nice. That's a great movie.
It's a great movie.
All right, my last pick is kind of an unusual one. Not the safest place in the world. But it's in California. It's a town called Sunnydale. This is where people like Buffy the Vampire Slayer hung out. And now you got a bunch of like really attractive young ladies. You got this awesome library at the school that's just got more books than the Library of Congress. Everyone just seems the people I would want to hang out with just hang out at this library, you know, in the daytime. And then At night, this is where the town gets a little sketchy because it sets on what's called a hellmouth, which is, a portal for demons and vampires to come in. So odds are probably the mortality rate, not good. But I don't know, man. I would just like to hang out with Buffy and Cordy and Willow and all them and play vampires and hang out in the library. So I'm going with Sunnydale, California.
Okay.
Another awesome TV show too. But
Watched it.
yeah, it took me. It's one of those that like I heard other people talking about it, so I'm like, oh, I'll give this a chance. And then watched the first episode. I'm like, oh my gosh! And then ran through like all 7 seasons in like a week. I was just like, just couldn't get enough of it. But, all right, real quick, some of my honorable mentions. I thought real hard about
5 minutes.
the Boston with the Cheers.
I can't believe you didn't pick Cheers.
I know, man. That'd be an awesome hangout. I thought about Dillon, Texas from Friday Night Lights. But I got to give it up to my wife for coming up with this one. And this is why she pays the bills and makes all the decisions in this house. But she said, what about this town where like everyone's like really friendly and the kids are always in a good mood? There's only one person who's really grouchy and he's not even really that grouchy. Sesame Street.
Nice.
That's good.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kudos.
That's solid.
That's a good one.
Mine were the only 2 that I had on here were Brady Bunch, again, California, right? Just I'm a big Brady Bunch nerd, so that would have been cool. And the other one I had was Hill Valley from Back to the Future, not the alternate 1985, just the regular one because we don't want Biff running the show. But Hill Valley just seemed like a nice little town that I would enjoy being. And you got to make friends with Doc Brown, so.
Yeah.
Mine, I would go with Bikini Bottom.
Solid.
Pineapple Under the Sea. Come on. That's mine. I'm sorry. That's all I got.
That's
I
solid.
like it. Yeah.
I was doing research. I'm sorry, Breeze, but I saw some research and people were like, Gotham City. I was like, that sounds like that would be horrible to live in Gotham City. Like high crime and bats flying around. That'd be horrible.
I know. At least Sunnydale on the Hellmouth. At least it has sunshine.
Yeah.
So.
I'm sorry, Breeze. What you got, bud?
Well, on my personal list, I was a little surprised that Johnson didn't pick Scranton, Pennsylvania. I thought he might go with that.
I was thinking about it.
That was on my list. And then another one I had on my list was Orbit City. Anybody know what that is? Jetsons.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That would be good.
I was thinking about picking that. Some of the other ones we didn't mention that's kind of classics. I thought Jason might go this direction as well. Hazard County, Georgia.
Yeah.
Well, we're still counting the votes. It might pop up.
Yeah, right.
So then there's also a little town called Bedrock.
Yep.
Yep.
Then there's a town in Colorado called South Park.
Yeah. I had that.
What about the Upside Down? Nobody picked the Upside Down from Stranger Things.
Oh.
Nobody picked Quahog. Hey, it's Peter. Hey. Yeah.
Another one on my list was Bedford Falls from the movie It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah.
Outside of like the blatant racism in the 50s and 60s, a lot of these places would have been great to live.
90 seconds left.
We should also, when we're doing fictional towns, we should also make sure we mention a town called Springfield. I get that on record.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's on record.
It's been going like 25 years or 30 years or something now?
30 plus. Yeah.
30 plus?
Yeah.
Crazy.
Well,
Johnson's wife wins with Sesame Street.
Sesame Street was, that's legit.
Yeah. I know. I was like,
and none of us thought of that. That's
nope.
because we're four idiots.
Yeah, I know. I tell you what. All right. So next episode. Well, next week's Thanksgiving. We're not getting together Thanksgiving, right?
We can take a week off.
Or we could go Wednesday if you wanted or something.
Yeah, we can do that. Next
Yeah.
week,
It's up to you guys.
we are drafting
I'm fine going Wednesday.
fictional athletes. Next episode. Drafting fictional athletes.
It's a good one.
All right. That's it. Good show. Hit like and subscribe. Thanks for joining us.
Happy birthday again.
Happy birthday,
Breeze.
Breeze.
Happy birthday, buddy.
Thanks.